This is a small article written by Babuji about knowledge and discrimination. So I request all the people present here to pay attention and think, because it will help solve so many problems. Knowledge and discrimination. You say that your faith in spirituality is shaking, owing to the absence of abiding experience. In this connection, I would like to draw your attention to the following. What is knowledge? And what is the reality of man and the reality of the real? Usually, knowledge is thought to be that which comes from the ideas of others, poured into us from their own seeds. Knowledge trickles down, drop by drop, to form a rivulet. It flows on, producing waves of a similar nature, which bubble and toss in their own way, in variation with each other. These waves give rise to so many thoughts, which go on growing powerful by the effect of man's over-attention to them. In this way, he becomes soiled with the ideas he has been entertaining. His own force keeps him wrapped within, which he has himself accumulated. When it is so, the true knowledge of the divine, so plain and simple, shall never dawn. So basically, the chitta vritti is the idea is, whenever you do not have the knowledge of reality or the oneness of God, and if you don't realize that oneness, you are under the influence of avidya or ignorance, and as a result of that, continuously the vrittis are produced. Vrittis are everything, I mean, including any thought, any idea that you have the knowledge about God also becomes a vritti. That's why yoga is chitta vritti nirodha. That means yoga is you attain a state of silence actually. Reality lies behind all these screens. It dawns only when one is absorbed in what is real. In other words, it refers to the full development of the discriminative faculty, which distinguishes between the real and the unreal. Reality is revealed when one becomes free from the idea of both real and unreal in a state of balance. The discriminative faculty is of three types. The first, which is the lower type, relates to the feeling of right and wrong, and it is the ordinary level of humanity. This type of consciousness develops by the effect of good association and the study of scriptures. The second type of discrimination, which is found in men of developed divine consciousness, relates to the feeling of real and unreal. The highest type, the super discrimination as I call it, is found in saints who automatically think and display only that which is right and real. This state comes when one develops divine attributes. At this stage, the knowledge gained from outer sources transforms into divine knowledge, just as the bee transforms flower nectar into honey. All that one has to do for the purpose is to vacuumize himself as far as possible, so that the divine knowledge can enter in. The physical knowledge is then left behind, making room for the divine knowledge to percolate into the heart. I do not mean to discourage the study of books, but to be entangled in the intricacies of words is harmful. If instead man has persistent thoughts of the beloved, it breeds ideas of a similar nature in his heart. Whatever he shall read or hear in that state, he will take it in the correct sense and in a way best suited to his purpose. The reason why Lord Krishna put this deep thought beyond the range of common understanding into Arjuna was that he was in every way up to it. If one ascends up to that level, he can realize it in the true sense. In a way, what he's trying to say is the chief's duty of an abhyasi is to develop a feeling of love and devotion towards the Guru. Here, Babuji Maharaj, because we know only him, we don't know God directly. So we can listen to his talks, we can hear his voice, we can read his books, and you can follow his method of meditating on the divine light without luminosity in the heart, follow his 10 commandments, and we keep developing love and devotion towards him. And in that sense, the discriminative faculty grows with that, and then divinity will enter into your heart because a vacuum will be created. That's what he says. I mean, very interesting. He says, so all that one has to do for the purpose is to vacuumize himself as far as possible so that the divine knowledge can enter in. Physical knowledge is then left behind, making room for the divine knowledge to percolate into the heart. I do not mean to discourage the study of books, but to be entangled in the intricacies of words is harmful. If instead man has persistent thoughts of the beloved, that means love and devotion, it breeds ideas of a similar nature in the heart. Whatever he shall read or hear in that state, he will take it in the correct sense and in a way best suited to his purpose. He says that is the reason why, because he had love towards Krishna, Arjuna, whatever was said to him, it amounted to real discriminative knowledge. The reason why Lord Krishna put this deep thought beyond the range of common understanding into Arjuna was that he was in every way up to it. That means he already had love and devotion for Krishna. That's why he was able to get that discriminatory knowledge of the third type which is discussed. If one ascends up to that level, he can realize it in the true sense. So three types is describing, three types of discriminative faculty. The first one is lower type, which relates to the feeling of right and wrong. And it is the ordinary level of humanity. This type of consciousness develops by the effect of good association and the study of scriptures. Second type of discrimination, which is found in men of developed divine consciousness, relates to the feeling of real and unreal. The highest type, the super discrimination as I call it, is found in saints who automatically think and display only that which is right and real. Okay, आज का dairy saying we'll read today.
Sure.
Oh, you will listen to his voice also. I mean, अपना उसमें जाके. Voice is important. We want to listen, and because Sir has insisted that every day we should listen to Babuji's voice actually. Okay, play it.
A long time, if you practice every day, does it go when you come from one knot to another knot?
Well, I am telling you, the whole realization only require just moving the neck. Just move the neck and realization is there, but you must not come back. Jump into him. Jump into the realm of God and don't come back. That's all. So 1 minute, hardly 1 minute.
No, I mean, from one knot, you have to go through all these knots.
So knots, these are the plexes or centers. I have dealt the same thing in several ways. It is very easy, not at all difficult. Very easy. But preparation is needed for that and then work. The difficulty is it is so easy. Easy.
Yes, exactly.
You might ask me the same questions somewhere. I don't know whether in the west or east. The same question. What was the question? It is so easy. Yes, I said something. I forgot my own words.
A man in the West asked me.
West or the east, I don't remember. Difficulty is only that it is not difficult. That is only difficulty, that it is not difficult.
No, yeah.
That is the only difficulty I mean to say, that it is not difficult.
You are writing in the autobiography about we should go beyond easiness, and then we come to uneasiness. Is that the same subject as you know?
But unless the lines are there, here, in this, ये बल्ब अगर हो तो वहां लगा लो जहाँ चक्के घिस रहेंगे। अब ये सब घिस रही है चक्के, ये खत्म हो गया आटा क्या? नहीं आटा नहीं, वो नीमक कीमक ना उतनी अच्छा से पीसा जाता और चिंता काटी सब लड़के बड़े सारे और बाकी आदमी को मिलते नहीं, उसमें कोई बल्ब हो सके वो लड़कियां कहती नहीं जब भी चाचा आ जाए तुम्हारे को लगा मैं अभी
going beyond easiness is uneasiness. A man becomes conscious when similarity or sameness is disturbed. The state we acquire by the help of the meditation causes a repulse. When the outgoing tendencies of the mind comes in touch with it, or in the other words, when the tendencies touch the field of easiness, its opposite is felt. So we should also try to calm down the outgoing tendencies of the mind. I now gave you something about uneasiness. If somehow a man can begin to feel easiness in uneasiness, then it will not give place to the outgoing tendencies to enter into it.
It's very difficult to explain.
Yes, I don't understand.
Only practice can reveal.
Yeah.
चलें हाँ चलिए और meditation are you ready? हाला
So we'll read Way to Perfection from Showers of Divine Grace, message at Tinsukia on 25th November 1977. My prayer is that this auspicious day on which the inauguration of the meditation hall at the Tinsukia Center of the mission should prove the harbinger of good fortune to all abhyasis of the mission in India and abroad, and in particular to those of Tinsukia Center. The general idea that feeds abhyasis is that the items of practice taught to them are all that is needed to take them up to the final state of evolution. Their thought does not run behind this at all. We indicate Raj Yoga as our foundation, and it is so in fact. Their ideation does not reach down to its depths, and it just stops short with the observance of the rules. But it is certain that in Sahajmarg, the fragrance of Pranahuti indwells, but still the factors that get left behind are love and devotion. Along with the act of meditation, it is essential that these should also inhere therein. It has been necessary for me to stress the mingling of the facets together, since by doing to reach his goal very soon. It is your responsibility to engender these factors in yourself. Here he's talking about love and devotion, so along with the practice, focusing on the love. The means consist in endeavoring to maintain the remembrance of the principle that is Ishwar, God. Even here, the objection can be put forward by some that by this effort, the mind gets so tired that perhaps it can retain this only for half a day. Whatever act you do it in the thought, it is the divine command, and therefore it is my duty to do so that the state of remembrance should continue steadfast. And one special benefit that accrues is that the creation of samskaras, impressions, ceases. Retaining the remembrance of God at all times engenders in us a deep attachment to the divine, and leads to the state in which love for him develops and overflows. Gradually, through this, devotion attains its full form. It is therefore very essential to adopt this procedure. The second need is good behavior and conduct. That is, we should never act in such a way that anyone can lift a finger against us. The rules of our daily life and of behavior towards all should be very good and straightforward. By acting so, you derive pleasure and happiness, and the state of peace will of itself begin to blossom inside you. Through thinking of the divine, devotion and love develop. I will certainly say this development of attachment is your job and your very important duty. If you do not do this, you do not carry out the duty imposed on every service-minded abhyasi, and the characteristic of a fakir and of man consists in this, that your duty discharge gets completed. Truth lies in this, that we keep turning our vision inward. If you do this, your condition will stay there wherefrom the substance came to us. That is, we make a mark on the true treasure house. Now, it is left to us just to develop the form of expansion. This form of expansion takes birth when, along with practicing meditation on the divine, the endeavor is maintained to keep our vision more and more turning inward. If the true craving for the attainment of the divine is developed in you, it takes no time to achieve success. You are reaching out for bliss, and I am talking of craving and restlessness. But brother, the happiness that this craving and restlessness bring is never obtained in peace. When restlessness increases and reaches the limit, crosses the limit of strength, then the beginning of real peace starts. My strong desire is that I should give people an inkling of the final state of spiritual evolution. Teachings of natural path are of the highest because it teaches the maintenance in view of one's final goal. It is necessary for any teaching which aims to assist in the attainment of the highest to be of the highest order. My restlessness lies in this, that you should continue to be restless to achieve the goal of attainment of the divine, which alone can give me real peace. To the extent that you are restless in this manner, to that extent peace will accrue to me. If you believe and remember this, that for all the service rendered by me to people, the return that comes to me is peace, then the only method for you is to remain restless. Let us get so deeply involved in the thought of this that no thought arises at all of that.
We'll read the seminar paper of Sir on this topic.
This advice of the Master is given in the message Way to Perfection and is essentially a procedure to be followed for retaining the remembrance of God at all times that ensures development of a deep attachment to the divine and to a state in which love for him develops and overflows. This attitude may also be considered as our walking in the will of God. It produces in us a distinctive lifestyle. There will be certain characteristics which will be true of all aspirants in the path in all places and in every age. There are abiding qualities about true sadhakas which would make them recognizable by their co-travelers in the path. If every act we do is to be in the spirit that this is the order of my master, the question arises, what is the will of master in this particular unique situation in which I find myself? We have to face the issue of the nature of the principles which govern our conduct. How do we discover the will of God when we are faced with a possibly bewildering array of choices? The exposition of the commandments of the Master addresses mainly, there's another addresses here, kindly delete that. This question, as we all know, that this is the theme of the several message of the Master is clear to those who are really seeking ways and means of behaving as true aspirants in the path of spirituality. Master states that by treating all our actions as dictates of the divine, here we have put the word we, instead it should be the creation of samskaras ceases. This leads us to the theory of formation of samskaras and the universal law of karma. Karma means not only action, but also the result of an action. Whatever we are going through at the moment is the result of previous actions, not just of this life, but many lives. In short, karma is the sum total of our actions, both in this life and in the preceding ones. Nothing happens by accident or chance actions. Everything happens in regular order, the past, present and the future being interconnected and interdependent. Cause is effect concealed and effect is cause revealed. All our actions are due to the various relationships we have developed and are motivated by our ahankara, feeling of me, and mamakara, feeling of mine. They have an ego which tries to control, seeks security and freedom, and is motivated by the desire to have a good health or well-being. The actions and relationships we have are due to past samskaras and karma, in which there is a giving and taking or runanubandha. In each life, we have mother, father, brothers, sisters, spouse and children and so on. We are born in a family as a result of undischarged debts of past lives. Constantly, we are creating accounts, debiting and crediting. We are creating karmic debts with all those with whom we interact. The karmic debts, rina, lead to bondage or attachment or bandhana. These karmic attachments pull us into the wheel of existence again and again. Karma leads to rina and rina leads to karma. It works both ways. If you are given something to somebody in some life, the memory is stored in your causal body. The person will be your debtor in this birth. If you have taken in the past, it will be taken from you in some birth. The causal body stores the memory of all of one's Rinanubandhas, of countless births, till all the karma stored in the causal body is burnt away or exhausted. There is no liberation from rebirth. Human life is nothing but a memory of Rinanubandha, the story of the countless karma that we make and live through. Every relationship reflects some Rinanubandhana. The people with whom we have very strong Rinanubandhana become our parents, spouse, children and co-bonds in this life. The memory of karmic debts may be sweet or bitter. Sweet memories of karmic debts lead to a happy relationship and bitter memories to unhappy relationships. In reality, most of the karmic debts are mixed, a mixture of sweet and bitter memories. That is why most of the relationships are of a mixed nature. I will try to explain briefly two kinds of relationships that are very important: parent-child and love and marriage relationships. Parent and child relationship is very important. This is the easiest way to discharge our karmic debts towards one another. In fact, life itself has Rinanubandhana as its roots. In countless lives, we have had intimate body relationships with many people. Every long-standing relationship leave to a certain deep impression. Any act, when done repeatedly, can become a habit. Every habit leaves impression. These impressions are the samskaras which drive us to act again. That is why we get sexually attracted many times, but we have no more debt or rina with the other person. It just remains as a feeling, thought, fleeting thought, as an impulse only. But if Rinana Bandhana is still there, the attraction results in a relationship. Sometimes even if the karmic debt is discharged, still the samskaras, impressions of past action, drive us to develop intimate relationship with others. We eventually end up creating a fresh account, a further karmic debt that is not visible. In the majority of the sexual attractions, it is only the samskaras and not the actual karmic debts that operate. And if there is any undischarged karmic debt, it results in a relationship of love. When the karmic accounts are settled and there is no more debt, the relationship breaks suddenly. But if the Rinana Bandhana is very strong, it results in a long-standing relationship like marriage. The topic of karma and Rinana Bandhana is a separate subject, and I do not want to dwell on that. Suffice it to say that unless there is a karmic bondage, attachments do not arise, and consequently actions out of attachments also are subject to the law of karma. When two souls who are evolving spiritually as husband and wife help each other in their evolution and benefit one another, this is the purpose of marriage. Sometimes, rarely, a very highly evolved being or soul or spirit or even avatar is born as two people to accomplish a mission. Example, Lord Krishna and Balarama or Lalaji and Chachaji. After the accomplishment of the mission, they merge back into one. Though very rare, such a divine couple also take birth in all ages. Thus we find that bondages, anubandha, are of many people, are of many types, and every one of them has a karmic law operating behind them. I may say that the patterns of karma are myriad, exceedingly intricate and perplexing. We have so far dealt very broadly on the theory of karma and Rinana Bandhana. However, karma has been classified as sanchita karma or total accumulated karma. This is a vast store of accumulated karmas of all past lives as a human being only. It may be indirectly seen in a man in his character, his tendencies, aptitudes, inclinations and desires. Prarabdha or fructifying karma, that portion of our karma allocated to us in this life is called prarabdha. It is the fruit of our past actions that are being reaped in this life. All of sanchita karma will not be experienced at one time. Only that portion which has become ripe for experiencing in this lifetime is prarabdha. Kriyaman or current karma. This is the fresh karma that we do in this life. This is the area that man has freedom to determine the course of action. This determines our future lives. This is where the concept of free will comes. Agami karma or future karma, the karma that is coming, in other words, the new actions that we contemplate as a result of our thoughts, the way we envision the future is agami karma. Today's plans, when executed, could become a reality one day. Planning is agami, while execution is kriyaman. Thus, agami or planning leads to kriyaman, freshly executed actions of the present, which become sanchita to a later accumulated to later surface as prarabdha. Sanchita karma manifests in two ways. Firstly as prarabdha and secondly as samskaras or tendencies. Master, on the same lines as Lord Sri Krishna, asked us to address the kriyaman and agami karmas by dedicating everything to the divine. 2. Acting as though every act of ours is in accordance with the divine will or command. 3. Treating all relationships as a matter of trusteeship. 4. By living like a duck, unattached and unsoiled by attachments. This he ensures no formation of further samskaras. He addresses the problem of prarabdha through the method of purification. He has also given he has also given, and also the meditational practices. Thus, one who follows the system properly with the help of Pranahuti sessions from competent persons is sure to be free from the cycle of births. Our actions then are the means by which we are to liberate ourselves from the bondages as contrasted to those who renounce action and seek liberation. But this should not be construed to mean that we should be busy always in some activity or the other. Master asserts that the only method can be one that I have described above. One must go on reducing the activities, shaking off all superfluities that have entered into our being for the purpose of shattering his individual network and assuming the purest state one has finally to arrive. It is needless to say that such reduced activities would lead to greater spiritual activities. Our daily life is a great opportunity for spiritual practice. Every moment is a challenge to be more mindful of what we think, say, and do. Every response is a lesson in self-awareness and letting go. The Ten Commandments of the Master addresses the problem of liberation in a very clear and candid fashion. By the first three commandments, the Kriyaman Karma or Agami Karma are directed towards no formation of new attachments except the attachment to the one God. The other commandments deal with the method by which we would be facing our prarabdha karma. The commandments, therefore, are not just ethical injunctions, but are means of sadhana. We have a great problem always as to what would happen to those attached to us and we feel and who we feel are under our care. Faith in the Master and faith in ourselves should meet this problem, and yet we are afraid of every possible situation in life. Fear or anger, or in other words, fight and flight, is our basic patterns of behavior. It may not be wrong. It may be not wrong if I say that fear is basic motivation for most of the actions of the common man. Fear is encountered every step of the way. Small fear, big fear, real fear, imagined fear, every type of fear. In reality, all fear is unreal, since fear is not our true nature. Yet, we are too ingrained in our culture of living in fear. We try to soothe our fear by doing, achieving, and searching externally, basically trying to keep our mind busy and distracted from confronting fear, and in the process we find temporary relief. We then wrongly conclude that doing and achieving can eliminate our fear. In reality, they only distract us from our fear. When all is achieved and done, our fear remains, and the anticipated reward of all action, namely peace, is anything but a mirage. But doing and achieving have become a habit for us, a pattern of behavior that we believe can remove our fear and bring us peace. We are wrong in that belief, of course, but like the drug addict, we find it difficult to let go of our habit. We are hooked. Changing this habit requires effort, and that is a great effort. For this we need faith. Someone defined the terms of faith and fear with the same words. Faith is believing what we cannot see to come to pass. Fear is believing what we cannot see to come to pass. This is really a revealing and interesting way of looking, please add at these two very important feelings. We may notice that the difference between these two definitions is the way in which we choose to focus on the subject. If the focus is on something we desire, then it is faith. If instead we choose to focus on what is undesirable, then it becomes fear. What this means is that one, hope is expecting what is desirable to happen. Two, despair is expecting what is undesirable to happen. We therefore have to be very careful what we allow our mind to focus on. This is a very important aspect of our sadhana. We need to be positive in our outlook, as also have faith in our capacity to achieve the goal. We started with the subject stating that we should act in such a way that all acts are done as the commands of the divine. Many times our acts appear to violate the norms of behavior and conduct that are not acceptable to society in which we live. How we should conduct ourselves in many situations appears to be confusing. In this context, it is necessary that we should examine whether our actions are 1. Lawful, 2. Does good to all and promotes fraternity, 3. Does this action put us in bondage, 4. Is it in compliance of the commands of the Master and promotes harmony, 5. Does it present us with the modes of models of the natural path, 6. Does it present as followers of the tradition of the system and we are moving in the path tread by the Masters. It is only when our actions are in accordance with the above criteria and such other similar criteria that may be applicable individually can we think that our actions are in accordance with the will of God or with the will of the Master, and that our acts and actions are done as if they are His orders. Behind all this is the feeling of love with which we need to discharge our duties. Love and devotion to God our Master is easy to understand, but love and devotion to all human beings is the quality of persons dedicated to divine. There cannot be any order of the divine that does not have love as its main ingredient, as He is the one who loves all. A divine command or order, therefore, has always the flavor of love, and this must be exhibited in all our actions. The love here is no attachment to any one individual, but is the nature of our life breath itself. Unsoiled, we need to love all and act in such a way that promotes universal harmony, and then that is in total compliance with the will of God. Then our actions can be considered as acts of in compliance with the divine command. Pranams.
Nothing is there. We'll meet again next Sunday.